youtube.com/geekaloud, 8 p.m. Thursday night, G.E.A. Everyone got me good. Unky Dunky, how you doing in the second slot this evening, my friend?
Mate, I'm doing very, very well. Ready to talk some Hogwarts Legacy and everything else gaming with you boys.
Perfect, I love it. And of course, joining us as always, Bully, how are you travelling this evening, my friend?
Oh, look, I'm casting my spells and wands and getting my broomstick out, and that's all I've been doing this week. So
now, did you get the microphone unmuted in the PS5 controller, and have you been yelling, I can't even remember, Wingardium Leviosa?
I tried, and unfortunately, my little wizard there just seems to just stare at me dumbfounded as to what's actually going on. So,
his wife and kids look at him exactly the same way. So
they mustn't have patched it in yet.
Without further ado, let's kick it off, shall we? Do games, interrogation, deliberation. No, wait, we're not going to do that at all. My God, I'm sorry, guys. I'm losing it over here. What I'll tell you first is to run a show. First up is games, interrogation, and deliberation. It's 4 games we've been playing. Pro tip, the first one's Hogwarts Legacy, and we are red hot on it. And then, of course, there's also one TV show. Unky Dunky, what's the one TV show?
It is The Last of Us HBO episode 4.
Of course it is. Yes, that's right. It's The Last of Us episode 4. And then we go to the newsroom and there's 6 stories in the news this evening. And then it's everyone's favourite segment. That's right. The world famous, I would argue, standoff segment. Unky Dunky, what are the constraints for the entrance this evening?
All right, so spoilers for this week. There's a few games on here that people may not want spoilers for, but with Hogwarts coming out, it'd be rude of us not to. We are looking at the most memorable, shocking, sad moments a game character was Avada Kedavra, as in they are no longer with us. They have died. They are kaput in their video game realm. So we're looking at the best. We've got some sad ones in there. There's a few I've left out for spoilers for certain other things, but we've got a pretty good list coming at you tonight.
Perfect, mate. Excellent work. And then, of course, segment 4, it's audience integration. And Bully, Unky, set your faces to stunned because for the first time ever on the Gaming Enforcement Agency, we've had a video sent in. So we are kicking off the audience interrogation segment with a viewer video. And it's something special, boys. You're going to love it. But I'm going to tell you no more. I don't want to ruin the surprise. As I said, then it's audience interrogation. So as we go through the standoff, and as Unky Dunky just alluded to, best deaths in video game. Bully, I charge you, sir, with monitoring their YouTube chat and keeping us honest all night with it. Sing them out as they come through. If you're in the YouTube chat, make sure you let Bully know your favourite deaths in video games. It's going to be amazing. That's coming up. Bully, does that work for you, man?
Certainly does. We've got a couple in there already. G'day to Sean Games and Matt47.
Hey, fellas, good work. Nice to have you in here, as always. Oh, and a big shout out to anybody listening after the fact on the podcast services. Hi, thanks for tuning into our podcast. Please rate us. That'd be amazing. Now, without further ado, let's get to games, interrogation, deliberation. Hogwarts, anyone? That's right. It's Hogwarts Legacy. Over to you, Bully. Sir, I think you're the hottest on the panel for this one, so I'll let you take the cake, mate.
Well, I thought I was going to be the hottest, but it looks like Unky's gazumped me a little bit in terms of time he's dumped into it. But I'm going to throw
Wingardium play more gamey Oviosa.
I'm going to throw out probably a couple of adjectives that describe it, and you're all going to sit there and probably roll your eyes. But I'm going to go with magical. It's...
That's a good one to start.
That's probably the most obvious one, but
what have we got on screen, Bully? Because it's about to disappear.
Sorry?
What do we got on screen now? It's about to go. No, we missed it. It's all good. We'll come back to it. Keep going, mate.
A bit behind on the screen there.
My apologies.
That's all right. Yeah, it's enchanting, it's mystical, it's magical, it's whatever. However you want to describe it is you can take whatever fancy you like, but I wasn't a kid when Harry Potter first came out. I was probably mid-teens, but it takes you back to a kid-like state where it's just everything is, when you're wandering around Hogwarts, you just go,
wandering?
Have a look at that. Let's go and have look. What's that little secret there? What's that little thing? Little puzzle over there. Oh, let's have a look at that statue. I'd like to go and see this room, and all the things that you've read about in the books or seen in the movies is there. Down to even the bathrooms and that sort of stuff. It's absolutely amazing.
I don't recall any bathroom scene. Oh no, wait, in the first one. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think you might be reading fan fiction.
No, there's no Carmen Sandiego in that bathroom. But you spend probably the first little portion of it, at least probably 2 or 3 hours in Hogwarts itself, and then it starts to open up as you get open up the map a little bit, and you end up in Hogsmeade, and you
That is on
explore
screen
that.
right now with the ogre fight, mate.
There you go. Well, we can work our way through that, but you basically go from Hogwarts to Hogsmeade. You explore the town a little bit there, and then that progresses the story. And once you've sort of done that section, you're almost to the point where you can just start exploring of your own free world, which is what I've sort of done a little bit. I know Unky was sort of mentioning some things last night, and I was nowhere near, I don't think, where he is, just because I've just gone off and explored, and it's very much the RPG mold in like you would have in the Elder Scrolls or something, or Fallout, where you'd be wandering along and you'll see something and you go, it just piques your interest, and you go, okay, I'll go and have a look at that, and you'll spend the next 20 minutes exploring.
Can I jump in on that for 1 sec?
Yeah.
I want to shout this game out for exactly what you were just saying, getting your attention. But this is the first game I can ever recall where I've constantly been pulled off the main path by audio. You hear something and then I better go, someone said something, or there's a weird noise, or like a little charmy noise. So exactly to your point, mate, this game is encouraging exploration, but I've never had one do it as well as visually, but also through audio. I'm floored by this game. Sorry, mate, back to you.
No, that's all right. And I think it's just those little touches that when you're exploring Hogwarts, for instance, you can get the little flying keys, and I can't recall the name is off the top of my head, but you can be wandering around and you'll see one of those flitter around, and if you chase it, you'll find it'll come to a locked cabinet, and then you can open a locked cabinet. So it's just little things like that distract you from getting where you need to go, or you might do that, and then you go, oh, okay, let's go back to the quest I was doing, and then on the way to the quest, you find a little puzzle. Okay, we'll do that one, and then this is not spoiling it too much because it's fairly early on in the game that you learn about these, but you've got these Merlin challenges, I guess you call them, but you come across those and you spend, some of them are pretty simple, others that you need to actually put a bit of time and effort into, searching the area and having a look at what's what. And
wait, if I can jump in. Sorry, mate, just 1 sec because it's on screen. Shout out to Unky Dunky for telling us that there was a transmorg section in the game, because on screen now you can see us with the character up, and I hated the hat, I hated the glasses, I hated the scarf I was wearing. Unky Dunky pings me a pro tip. Hey, Troy, there's transmorg. You can just hit the X button and get rid of them. So that's what you're seeing on screen right now, the dorky looking hats. And then eventually I say, you know what? I'm better without a hat, and turn it off. Back to you, Bully.
Well, that I was just going to say on that point. It was that's one of the oldest RPG tropes going around, is that you walk around in the most ridiculous looking outfit because it's the highest spec outfit that you found so far, and you just put up with it. But I think probably I was the same as you. I'd probably put in 7 or 8 hours before Unky threw his little pro tip across, and we worked that out. And I'd gone from looking like an absolute clown in the cutscenes in the background to actually looking half decent.
Can I give you another tip that you may not have picked up on as well?
Yeah.
That if you've got a robe that's got a hood, you can actually have your hood up or down, if you haven't figured that out as well.
Oh, dear Lord, man.
I hadn't figured that out, but that sounds pretty epic.
So that's pretty sure it's triangle on the hood. If you're about to put something with the hood on, you put triangle to have your hood up or down.
Now, is there a way that I can say never show my hat, or do I every time I equip a new hat, do I then have to go and manually transmog it off?
You just take it like, I think every time you have a new hat, if you put a new hat on, you have to just transmog it off. But
yeah, boo.
It's not that big an issue. I've found the main thing is hitting the sort of start button, for lack of a better term, which gets you into sort of the thing that's got all the books around it to select from, as opposed to going through your map and going through your inventory that way. It's a quicker way to get to your gear.
But you can't tell me that they shouldn't have a shortcut key. As soon as you pick up a new item and it gives you a little on-screen like call out, hey, you got a new hat or whatever, they should have it mapped that when you hit the start button, then it takes you straight to the inventory screen, in my opinion.
Oh, I agree, because you're in that screen a lot.
Yeah, well, I certainly was. I was playing with all the outfits.
I just want to quickly jump on what Bully was saying about the Merlin stuff, because that does tie sort of into the inventory stuff quickly, is that the Merlin stuff that you are doing, it's not just solving a puzzle, but the more of these Merlin statues you solve, they give you targets to hit, and then that will increase the size of inventory you can actually carry at any given time. So it alleviates some of that issues of having to either sell or destroy some of your items. So do those Merlin things to increase your inventory capacity.
And had it lost it. Sorry, go, Bully.
No, that's all right. And it's exactly little things like that Unky was saying, is that, you've got these things that add extra inventory slots, but then it'll task you to go and kill a certain amount of goblins, and then you'll get something as a result of that. It might be a bit of equipment or whatever it is, or just there's. I think I'm up to a couple of dozen like active tracking things where it'll say you've got to kill a certain amount of things, or you've got to find a certain amount of things, or you've got to cast certain spells, or whatever it is. It just adds to, you know, it's not so much a time sink away from what you're doing, but it's a distraction from the main quest line that I've just found uh, not really progressing it that far because you're off doing side quests and getting distracted by all this other stuff as well. Which,
But I would argue you're leveling up your character, so you're making your main quests easier when you get to them. I feel like I'm always progressing something in this game, but to your point, I'm always off the beaten track.
oh well, and that's just typical of a normal RPG. Is that you normally, especially if you go to some of the older, use Final Fantasy as a reference point, is that you're never going to be able to defeat the game if you just mainline the main quest. You have to go off and do side quests and grind a little bit and level up and all that sort of stuff. But this, I've found, it's not. You don't feel like you're grinding. You just feel
No.
like you're exploring, and it's entertaining, and it's enjoyable, and
Yep.
you don't feel like you're going, oh, hang on, I've got to sit here and grind for half an hour to get myself up to a level where I can tackle the next boss. You don't feel that you're
Yeah.
being pressured to do it. It's enjoyable the whole time.
Oh, I agree
Um,
completely. And how well written is it? Like the characters are constantly talking. You're walking through school, there's constant chatter, but no one's whinging. There's just interesting dialogue happening, and they're always just setting a thought in your head. Oh, this at Hogsmeade, or this kind of spell, or have you looked at these seeds? Like it's constant. Just what else is in this game? I don't think I'm anywhere near finding everything in this game.
Oh no, and I think it's going to take hours and hours just to do them. If you were just to mainline the main quest, I think they were talking somewhere the 30-hour mark if that's all you concentrate on. But there is just so much side stuff to concentrate on, and when you talk about the character design and all the rest of it, it goes into the world design as well because they've done it in that fashion where it just gives you that little bit to just concentrate or keep on exploring or do a little bit extra. The way that they've imagined Hogwarts and put it all together, I found myself. Thankfully, there's a quest tracker or quest marker that sort of leads you where you need to go because going through some of those hallways initially before you start learning the layout of it and going up and down stairs and a little side door out here and all the rest of it, you start to get lost. But it is actually enjoyable just running around and looking at all those things and seeing it all come to life. And I'll be honest, I had really high hopes for this game going back a couple of years, and I just thought that surely it can't live up to what I think it's going to be, and it's going to pay homage to the movies and the books as much as it does. But absolutely fantastic in every sense of the word, and I think I'm in the messages to you guys, and I know it's only early on in the year, but this is going to take, in my opinion, some fairly serious beating for the game of the year at this stage. I don't know what you guys' thoughts are on that.
It's amazing. I'm totally spellbound by it. When I'm not playing it, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about the next thing I want to unlock. And I don't think you boys suffer from it, but in like the Far Cry games specifically, Far Cry and Assassin's Creed, I love running around and unlocking all the fast travel points. That to me is like one of the first things I want to do. I'll explore the whole map to unlock all the fast travel points, and then I'll go back to the beginning and start the main quest. And this game has so many of those, I don't know, the flumes, is that what they're called? The fast travel points? I'm just having so much fun just running around trying to find all those. What about you, Unky?
Yeah, sure. On that, that's one of the things I think I messaged you guys this week. That it's one of those games that's actually got a reason for your fast travel, and it explains it quite well in the lore of how you actually fast travel to these places, which I love. And another thing I love about the fast travel is that you can, like, if you've got a quest, you can track that quest, and then you can hit a button to go instantly to that quest on the map, and then just bring up straight away your fast travel to fast travel you straight to a flume right near that
Yep.
quest. So it's just brilliant game design using the Harry Potter or Hogwarts license. It
Yep.
is, but this game again, you've said, like Bully said, he's had high hopes for it, but this has kind of exceeded all expectations I had for it. This is a company whose
Yep.
last game was Cars 3. And then all of a sudden they're heavy hitting with the big boys in relation to open world RPGs. They've got something that looks this good, has this much atmosphere. Like it's not so much the way the game looks, but it just has this atmosphere about it. You go into those woods and there's this thick sort of fog, and if once you've got your broom, which takes, it was about 8 hour mark, I got my broom for the first time, and just being able to
Wait.
sport.
Let me guess. You really clean up the place.
Oh, I do clean up the place, Troy. Nice pun again. And as you sort of rise slowly through the woods and then come out on top of them, it's just that feeling you get of just like the epic nature of Hogwarts and just the surrounding areas. This game is massive. I didn't expect the open world to be as big as it is. Bully spoke about the story as well. I think from the moment it starts, it injects this mystery into the story, which you're straight away intrigued in. You pretty much forget all about Harry Potter.
Oh,
And start thinking about this whole new Hogwarts experience you're having with this new character and this new story and new mystery, because it is set so far in advance of Harry Potter. But
no,
I don't think about Harry Potter playing this game at all.
it's 200 years prior to Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's right. So it's got nothing to do with that at all. It's far removed. But what I have to say is the professors. I think every professor that I've come in contact with is just as memorable as the ones in the movies. They're just as likable.
Yep.
I really like the botanical whatever a teacher is. She's like
Yeah.
she's a bit cute.
Does she remind you of Poison Ivy, or is that just me?
I'm
talking about Uma Thurman's.
She does
rendition.
a little bit. I feel like she's just out of Hogwarts and only just got a teaching role, so she's not far off the student's age there. She's looking.
I think we found Unky.
We found my come in San Diego. No, but I just like these different age brackets. That you get your Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, who she's got this story about her as well, and she's got this really nice aura about her. You got the guy that's really excited. You got the groundskeeper who teaches you how to unlock locks and stuff as well. And
thank you. I've been waiting. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I've seen so many padlocks, and I'm like, when am I going to learn this? And I didn't know where to look. But you've given me the pro tip.
I think it was about hour 12, maybe 13. I got that. So. You got a little bit to wait. I'm looking forward to unlocking beasts and being able to ride beasts. So I think I'm getting close. I've just had my first beast class, so I think I'm getting close to being able to tame animals and stuff. But no, this game, it's as I said, it's far exceeded expectations. The controls feel really fluid and smart, like with the graphics.
Talk about your pro tip on the controls, Unky.
Oh yeah, that's a tip I've given Troy. I've seen it actually come out sort of a bit more widely known now across YouTube channels and stuff as well. But if you take down your camera acceleration and then put up your aiming speed to the top, you'll get a much smoother, sort of more accurate experience when you play the game, and it's instantly recognized. Like it's kind of like how we did with Ghostwire last year.
Yeah, everything you're seeing now has had that applied. So if you're looking at this going, oh, it looks pretty punchy, you wouldn't need to change it. No, it looks punchy because Unky told me to change it.
That's right. And then and we haven't even spoken about the combat. The combat in this game is way better than I thought it was going to be. And like, it can get a bit clunky at sometimes when you unlock so many spells. Like I've now got 4 different mappings for spells, so I can have 16 spells unlocked at once. And it's a matter of trying to map them correctly so you can keep your combos going and stuff, and sort of then applying the upgrades to those characters with traits and stuff as well.
Can I ask you on that point, are you saying, like, if you look on screen now, you can see the bottom right, there's just the 4 spells through R2. Are you saying you end up with, like, the L2 modifier so you can have 8, or what is...
Yeah, so if you hold R2, then hit up, down, left, right on the D-pad, it'll bring up another 4, which you can then auto-assign different spells to. So if you hit right on the D-pad without touching anything, it'll bring up all your spells, and you can map them to certain diamonds. Yeah,
I've been doing that and just remapping using the 4 slots. I didn't realize we had...
Yeah, so once you get to a point in the story, once you get to the point where you unlock the ability points and stuff, you'll put that towards unlocking new diamonds for your spells. So it is a massive story moment that actually gets that. So you'll be able to have up to 16 spell slots all at once. But
I just want to shout out, sorry, just on that point, the way this game has handled spells, and as I've just said, I was locked into just the 4 on R2, but it is incredibly superior to a game we're going to be talking about later. Back to you, Unky.
So I'm pretty sure I know what game you're talking about, but no, just the way the combat works is so visceral, and when you unlock the sort of dark magic spell stuff that you've got, whatever they call it, I can't remember the name of the old magic, I think they call it. You hit the L1 and R1, like a lightning strike, or it bashes them against the ground, or it does these cool moves where you can pick up stuff and throw it. Like it's got all these, and later on you get abilities to be able to sort of make those meters actually sort of raise faster. So
check out my robes here, guys. Sorry, they're just about to go off screen is all, but look at it. I've got the cloak or whatever with the skulls that are moving, like they're animated skulls on the cloak. It's the best goddamn thing I've seen in the game from a clothing standpoint. Sorry,
all part of the deluxe edition. We should mention this is on the deluxe edition. We all got 3 days early thanks to pre-ordering. So one of the best pre-order bonuses I've been getting around. I'm always going to spend extra if I can play a game I want a few days early. But I don't know, Bully, have you enjoyed the comment? I've really loved the comment. I really enjoyed how the spells have sort of made their way into the actual just exploration stuff as well, as opposed to just that, like the puzzle solving with the spells and the combat. I think they've mastered it as a Harry Potter or Hogwarts game.
Oh, look, I've really enjoyed it, and as you said before, putting the combos together and stuff where you can sort of levitate someone or throw them away, or you can lift them up and then start hitting with your basic attacks with your wands, or you can start with the fire attacks and all that sort of stuff. Just putting that all together is amazing. The only thing that I've sort of had is a bit of a downside is that they use the right stick to toggle between targets. So I sometimes find myself, oh, hang on, I need to move to the left or the right. So I'm moving the camera, but it's also switching targets. That's the only thing that I've had
Yeah,
with the combat that you sort of but once you're sort of used to it and aware of it, you can sort of work your way through it. But that's the only sort of downside, I guess. But I'll just reading through the chat as well. I certainly haven't done it, but Baboon Loop's asking, have we done the Dark Magic Challenge yet? Have any of you guys come across that?
Is that
No, I was going to say, I think I've come across the area where they are, but they're not unlocked yet. So I found a podium which allows you to do the dark magic stuff or whatever, but I can't do it yet. So I'm assuming it's part of the story where it unlocks, just like a lot of these other things. Like, as Bully mentioned before, about those keys flying around. It's not until you meet someone and they give you that side quest that you then start seeing the keys around the castle and stuff. So I think it's
you guys were
similar
talking
to
about the keys, and I had no idea what you were talking about. Oh, we're back to it. We're back to the top. And here, Baboon Lip in the chat is actually Ace. And so here on screen now, you can see these are the four of us going from left to right. On the left is Bully, and you're in which house, mate? Ravenclaw, is it?
Yes, yeah, I'm in Ravenclaw.
And then it was Unky Dunky in
Gryffindor.
Gryffindor, thank you. And then it's me in Hufflepuff, and then Ace was on the far right in Slytherin. Sorry, back to whoever was talking. I keep interrupting. I apologize.
Now, the other thing is, we sort of mentioned it before, is that they're not throwing everything in the game at you within the first sort of 4, 5, 6 hours. As you said, you don't get access to the broom to be able to fly until about 8 or 9 hours in, depending on how you're playing it. We haven't got to the dark arts bit yet. The Merlin stuff you can't really do until sort of 3, 4 hours into it. So every time you think you've sort of seen most of the gameplay aspects that the game has got to offer, it throws something new and fresh at you to change it up enough to keep you interested over and above where you sort of where you're at anyway. And I think there's another section that that's what I was going to say. The beast that you unlocked that Unky was talking about. So that's I think you'd be up to close enough to about 20 hours, Unky. And if you haven't hit that yet, introducing that sort of stuff that far into a game just keeps you going.
Another point we'll hit on another game that brought something in a bit late. How good is, I don't know what they called it, because believe it or not, I don't read anything on screen, but the reverse bowling. You do it pretty early on. It's in the class with the spells,
yep.
which I assume they call sucking. You pull the balls towards you. But how enjoyable is that? Just as like a weird little mini game. I don't know what it's called, but
I think it's called shrugging. Is it called shrugging? Maybe something like that.
I'm not sure. I can't remember now, but yeah,
I think it was SH.
Just
but
little things like that.
As far as mini games, like games within games, that was so enjoyable. I would have stood there and let it just kept playing it if it had to let me. I couldn't work out a way to let it.
How'd you go in your first game, Troy? Did you win it?
Oh, I nailed it, man. Yeah, totally. I destroyed her. I can't remember what her name was, but demolished her. I even had it set up. Now, it's probably because I played a bit too much croquet as a kid, but I had it set up where I was standing over the other side and I was sucking it straight to me. And I was sending her balls going flying off the board and I was sitting on the 50s. I know I was 150 and I think she was on 20 or something. I destroyed her.
Nice.
I absolutely love that minigame. That could be a game unto itself. They could release a demo for this game that's just that sucking minigame. It'd be awesome.
But it's funny as well because even when you learn new spells and you have to do that little, it's almost a mini game in and of itself where you got to trace the spell and then push a couple of buttons. Given that I think there's about 25 or 26 spells throughout the entire game and they're spaced out enough, even little things like that just break up the gameplay. Like it's a tedious little thing.
But you're right, man. It's a drip feed.
It breaks it up and adds to that. The world building that they're doing is that, if you go back to the movies and the books and stuff, that Harry and the other kids had to actually learn how to cast the spell and what the conjuring word was. Well, they're doing that in the game with you and showing you how to weave the wand while you're doing it, and then the conjuring that goes with it. So, like, even little things like that, this drag you into the world.
And I do have to say that I have gone from Levioso. I finally learnt Leviosa as well, so I was very happy with that. I did get a screen capture of it, but I didn't want to ruin it for you boys when you wanted to learn it, so that's okay. Didn't want to give it legs up. But now, what graphical mode are you guys playing on it? I'm assuming performance.
All the way, mate. Performance, 100%.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
about you,
'Cause
Billy?
I've got the bottom performance mode, so it's like the ultra performance. I think it's at 120 hertz.
Yeah, I've got the performance mode just as a, when you've picked between the two, I just had the default performance mode, but I still think it's an amazing looking game,
Oh,
Yeah.
it is.
even when you have the performance mode on, and the draw distance is insane in terms of, as you said before, Unky, you can rise up on your broom out of a forest or a field or whatever it is, and all of a sudden you can see, to the other side of Hogwarts and beyond, and go, oh, there's something over there. I might, fly, and we're talking about, hundreds of meters away. That a lot of games struggle with that sort of stuff, but
Yeah.
you can just see basically the whole map from wherever you are at any point in time. It's just going to take you time to get there.
And I don't think I'll ever get sick of rising up and seeing the Quidditch pitch in the distance as well.
Oh,
That thing's just epic every time you see it.
and
Why
how
can't I
good
play Quidditch?
No, I know, mate.
is
They've
that? Not
explained it
in
in the
there? I
story.
assumed it was in there. Is
No,
it not?
they explained it. The
Oh.
professor explains it at the start that there was
Wait,
like an
let
injury
me
or something the
guess.
year before.
Let me guess. The explanation is when Crying Jim Ryan's ready, you can pay him $20 and unlock it.
Probably.
100%
Nah,
that's from that as well. So.
they'll have to. They're gonna have to do a bit to work on, I think, to get it. But I don't imagine it'd be too hard to get it in there. But they did explain it in the story as to why we don't have it now, and I actually do like that they've actually explained why we don't have Quidditch and that. But no, I'm hoping they add tricks and stuff to the broom stuff. There's a lot of races you have to do to unlock the.
Manuals, grinds.
Yeah, no, that'd be nice. But no, it's cool when you do the story stuff to actually unlock the ability to get your broom even faster as well, which I've now done 2 of those. So, and I've now hit a new season as well. So it sort of works in seasons, like kind of like The Last of Us did, how the story sort of move on. It's so I've now obviously, I think I'm in autumn, so it obviously was summer, so now autumn. So now everything in the whole world is now got this autumn sort of tinge to it, and there's pumpkins and stuff. There's stuff now hung up in Hogsmeade and stuff, which makes the whole world sort of look completely different. So really cool the fact that they've gone through and done this to the whole world. They could have been easy to have this one thing, but no, the whole palette's changed now with this season. So creating a whole new flavor. So that's awesome.
How now? Wait, Unky, is there a way I can zoom out the mini map? It's just too tight for me. I'm not saying I want the bigger circle. I'm saying I want the circle to encompass more of the world.
I don't think so. Like you can go to your world map, Hogsmeade, and think, oh, that's about it, and you can sort of get back as far as you
Yeah,
can
no,
get. But
just the
that's
mini
about it.
map. I want to zoom out on the mini map.
Yeah, no, there's not. Unfortunately, it'd be nice.
Patch it.
What I need for me, I want to like. I know you're not a huge fan of photo modes, but the amount of screenshots I'm taking is, I just want to get rid of my mini map and my stuff down the bottom to take epic shots of Hogwarts. So I can't imagine that's too far off. It's one of those things you don't necessarily need at launch, especially when it's already come with an amazing transmog system that you boys definitely know about now. So a lot of games that's sort of added in. I don't even know if The Witcher or stuff had transmog from day dot, but it's one of those systems that for me, like I hate running around with the best gear that just looks like shit.
Yeah.
Not saying that, not saying Bully that your character looked like shit. He was fantastic looking.
He was pimping hardcore.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't look. I'm pretty sure he doesn't look like that anymore, does he? But no, it's like floored by this game. It's for a company that's pretty well tested in these sort of spheres when it comes to these types of games. As I mentioned earlier, they made Cars 3 was their sort of last game. So to go from that to this is just a phenomenal achievement. I can't wait to see what they do next.
They've got absolutely no right to put this game out in the
No.
state that it's in. To be honest, and I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't even think there was a major patch on day one, so it's not like it's come out in some sort of.
No, it didn't need it. I've pretty much had no glitches or anything, no crashes, nothing at all. It's running pretty damn flawlessly at the moment, and I've had no voice sync issues, no visual glitches. The only thing that I could probably say is a little bit of popping, but that's going to happen with when you're flying on a broom at 100 miles an hour down to a grass field. You're going to see a little bit, but it's definitely not that noticeable.
Let me ask you this, guys. Forecasting, get your crystal balls out. This game, as we've just said, like really polished to a fine sheen for the day one launch, running beautifully. I haven't had any glitches. You blokes had any like quest breaking bugs, anything like this?
Nothing.
All right. So how do we think Starfield's going to stack up quality wise to this game on launch?
Oh, it's got a fair hurdle to get over, I would have thought.
Oh shit!
I would have thought so too. No one Bethesda.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna think Bethesda's gonna Bethesda no matter what.
But like, I reckon this game has really given Starfield something to jump over. Like, they're gonna really have to levitate over this one. It's gonna be real hard for them.
Now, I just also want to call out a lot of people in YouTube land or reviewer land not reviewing this game for certain opinions that a certain someone might have on this game, being J.K. Rowling. But this game includes a transgender character very early on in the piece. It's also got gay and lesbian characters that I've come across in the story as well. So if you're getting your knickers in a knot over that stuff, the developers are completely removed from that. They've made a great game. Support the game. Support the developers of this great game they've spent all this time on, because it is a fantastic game, and all that other stuff shouldn't sully a great experience.
It is a phenomenal game. 2 massive thumbs up for me. I can't think of any reason I wouldn't recommend someone getting this game. Like, I haven't come across anything that's put me off in any way. And what you blokes have said, like, I've just been floored by it left, right, and center. Every time I think, oh, this game's great, it's perfect. And then they just add 2, 3 new fantastic things that are totally different. I'm like, holy hell, like, how deep are the systems in this game? It's really knocked my socks off. I can't wait to get back to it.
Well, I mean, the other thing, and just without turning it too political, but as Unky said, it's you don't want to. You don't want to. I mean, the company itself and the workers that are there have clearly put in a lot of great effort and time into making this game. And the reality is, and I think from what I've seen, I know there's been the odd review site that's refused to have a look at it or refused to even name it in certain circumstances. And we're all well aware of cancel culture and all that sort of stuff going on at the moment. But the thing that I've actually really enjoyed is the reception that it's getting, and that people are just saying, "Well, no, I'm interested in the game," and it's trending on Twitter. It's the YouTube videos are going through the roof on it, and there's massive interest in it. And I think, well, I guess time will tell, but from what I've seen, it's going to translate into some absolutely massive sales for them, and well deserved in my opinion.
Have we heard anywhere sales numbers yet? Have they touted any?
No, I haven't seen any as of yet, but based on what I've seen, if this doesn't sell, 10 million by the end of it, by the midpoint of the year or the end of the year, I'd be shocked, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I reckon I'm going to put it in flag in the ground now. I say 20 million by Christmas.
Well, there you go. And then I've got a couple of points in the chat there for you, Troy. You can do that ball mini game again. It's a side quest, so thanks to Sean Games on that one.
Woohoo!
Who said he's close enough to 30 hours in. So
nice.
Have you even slept, Sean? I don't know what. It hasn't been that long. I wouldn't have thought. I thought Unky
sleeping's
was doing
for chumps. Right. Game on.
I thought Unky was doing all right, putting 16 hours into it in the first, sort of
day and a half.
36 hours that was out. I thought he'd done all right, but 30 hours, Sean did my dear God.
Hey, Sean, what level are you, buddy?
I've got a wife and child as well, there, bully.
Well, there is that as well. I don't know what Sean. I don't know.
Maybe not for much longer, but.
No, he's just told me 28 hours in. He hasn't given me a level there, but there is that for that one. And Ace is in the chats, as we said before. Baboon Loop, he's telling me that you're breaking the internet, Unky, with your transmog of the items or your characters.
Pro tip:
visual style. So he's about to. He's going to break the internet with that one.
Speaking of visual style, I've just gone with the Ace singlet as well. Because he's not here tonight, so just thought
making sure we hit our singlet quota. I appreciate your effort.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Just appeal into the trailer park. That's all we're doing there.
I love this game. I say you're crazy if you're a gamer and haven't or not intending to play this. You're absolutely crazy. Hands down, best RPG I've played since Fallout. Was it? It's Fallout 4 where you walk out and the nuke. Yeah, you get the option to drop the nuke. Yeah, that's Fallout 4, right?
No, Fallout 3.
Or is it 3?
Fallout 3 is the nuke.
I would argue this is the best open world RPG since Fallout 3. This game just has it in droves. left, right, and center. I'm constantly surprised. There's constantly new things to try. I'm constantly being drawn in, sucked in, and enjoying it. Oh, and the one other thing I had to say for anyone with old man hands, because this game destroyed my knuckles. And so once again, I've had to do the old PS4 remote in so I can use the DualSense. No, not the DualSense, the DualShock 4. I'm looking at the output of my PS5, but my controller is remoting in through my PlayStation 4, remote playing to give me the controller. So I'm looking at the PS5 output, but I'm inputting through the old DualShock 4 to save my knuckles. If you got old man hands, that is the pro tip I can give you on that one. But I absolutely love this game. I'm going to drop easy 100 hours into this by the time the year's out, I reckon.
Love it, same. And if we're going to get anywhere near close to finishing this show before midnight, I suggest we move on to the next thing.
Fair call. Bully, sorry, mate. Any final thoughts?
No, just my comparison to be The Witcher 3, but you know how much I love that.
That's a great point, man.
I was going to say something, but I knew Bully was going to say that, so I thought I'd leave it to him.
Before we sign off on this game, Ace is just telling me that he loves a singlet, but the arms need work.
Wow.
All right, then. Game/TV show 2. Over to you, Unky, for The Last of Us episode 4. I'll once again note that the footage you're watching is the relevant bit of the PS5 remaster of The Last of Us 1, because HBO like to content copyright strike us. So that's the HBO characters in the foreground, but the gameplay from the relevant bit in the background. Over to you, Unky.
Before we start this one, I just want to ask you guys a serious question. You ready?
Standing by.
All right. What is the pirate's favorite letter of the alphabet? No, it is the C. So this leaves us off with a perfect segue to this episode, because we got the pun book back in The Last of Us TV show. It was so when this came out, it was the start of the episode. Oh, thank God we got the pun book. I was wanting it sort of last episode, and we got it straight away here, and I think they delivered it perfectly. And
no spoilers, but I was laughing for 10 minutes after the show closed with the last pun they do in the episode.
Yes, and that one's ripped directly from the game as well. So, and for me, it didn't hit as probably much, but because I remembered that line, but it was just the way she delivered it and the way he reacted as well. I thought was just priceless.
Yeah, that was one of those real television moments that I'll remember forever. Her delivery, his reaction, it was top notch.
And that's what this episode was. I think last episode was sort of a bit removed and stuff. This one's sort of back to Last of Us as we know it, and which it'll please a lot of fans sticking back to that story of the actual game now. No, I just think this episode was all about Ellie and Joel's relationship and building
all about the action.
Yeah, that as well. I mean, we got the action back. We got Joel and Ellie sort of finally sort of breaking down with each other and sort of relaxing, and seeing Bella Ramsey relax her face now. I think this whole first 3 episodes, she's kind of been very sort of stoic and looked really mean, and it's kind of had this look on her face. But as soon as she relaxes her face and smiles, she's really likable, and I think that's something they've actually worked on in the show to sort of create that relationship and helping her break down that sort of, look that she's got with Joel and this disdain for him at the start, and they're building this sort of father-daughter relationship now. I'm not sure why Troy's broken up here. Is this something to do with the look on Ellie's face? I don't know.
It was exactly your point, man. She held that same look for the first 3 episodes, and I'd commented to my wife about it. And then when she finally took that sort of expression off, I'm like, oh, it was character development. Like they were trying to show how reserved she was with a stranger, but now as they're getting more friendly with each other, she's like dropping that facade of seriousness, and you're starting to see more emotion. It was just brilliant acting, but for the first 3 episodes, I was scratching my head wondering where her range had gone from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's right. And I think the way they sort of do that, sort of interjected within the story with the action set pieces as well, I think they sort of blend a lot of the action sequences really nicely. I like the way they're doing the Last of Us 2 thing, where they're humanizing some of these villains, like the Brian guy. You even hear the Last of Us 2 call out, "Oh no, they got Brian!" Stuff like in the background as well, which sounded very gamey. Which, if you know the game, you sort of know exactly what they're doing there. But I don't think it's as gruesome as it could have been. I reckon with HBO, they're normally quite violent.
God, it wasn't gruesome. Like, my stomach turned off the audio alone. If they had to put the camera in the room, it would have been as bad as going into the bedroom. I was just like, oh, I don't need to see this.
Yep. And then the sort of, Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, some people want to see that stuff. Like, I know there's the scene in the game where he's got him up against the glass and you've got to
Oh,
smash the button so Joel doesn't get hit. Then he slices the guy's throat with the glass. There's that brutal scene. And in this one, it's him obviously stabbing the guy, and it's obviously all done off screen to show to Ellie's reaction and the conversation they have after about, you're so young, you shouldn't have to do this. She does the whole, I've done it before. And that's a really good bonding moment between those two. But the stuff with them, amazing. The stuff outside of that with the group that sort of killed Phaedra and is led by this woman that, for whatever reason, commands respect. I don't know how, because
no.
looking at her, I was like, if she was telling me what to do, I would be telling her where to jump. This is like
Yeah.
gruff looking dude with a beard and a gun, and he's taking orders from this,
Yeah.
40 plus mum looking lady.
I wouldn't let her lead my dog. Like,
No,
what's going
like,
on? Why is anyone
and
following her?
yeah, like, and her name was Kathleen. So it's just, I don't know, it's just something about her character, I think. And the whole going back in there and shooting the doctor and all that kind of stuff to try and make her seem tough. Like, I get we're trying to humanize the soldiers and stuff just a little bit, which is what Neil Druckmann likes to do. But I just would have picked someone more imposing, like Marlene. She leads the Fireflies, but she's an imposing figure.
Yeah.
You believe that she can command these people. This lady's in this oversized khaki jacket.
She
with
looks like she's a moment away from tears the whole
She
time.
does. And I think that's part of it. I think it's supposed to, she is just any person that's taken up this role. She's aggrieved by her brother's death, so she wants to. But who's listening to her because of that?
Exactly. Nobody.
Yeah,
You're about to cry. I'm not going to follow you into battle. Sorry.
yeah, like she's just whinging about her brother's death. Like, but why does anyone else care about her brother's death? Whether we get enough time to have enough story with her to tell us why everyone's fine, I don't think we do, and I don't think they need to spend that much time on her. Because I think if we're going to get any backstory about any other character, I'm hoping it's David later on in the season. Because I think he can play that similar role with an actual interesting character. Because I just don't find her character all that interesting. But that aside, the episode was fantastic. It's obviously, it's probably I would say not the worst episode, but it's the episode that didn't quite have the crescendo like the other ones have had. Like, you had obviously had the opening scene with like Sarah's death, and that was almost two episodes combined. Then you had the Tess episode where Tess dies. Then you had the Bill and Frank episode. And then you had this one, which didn't. It had a lot of good bonding moments between Ellie and Joel, and it built that relationship, which is great because I think that pays off. But I think it's probably the reason they've brought the next episode forward. So I think we can now see it on Saturday here, and everyone else I think gets it day
Friday
early,
night.
like Friday night.
Yeah, that's because you got the Super Bowl on.
Yeah,
Super Bowl Sunday.
yeah. So I think it's going to play well because the way this episode ends, like, you kind of just want to see that keep going with the whole Henry and Sam stuff. So I think this sets up that nicely, and it does pay off really nicely with that relationship built. So it's a very good core episode. The action was great for that. It followed the games nicely. They obviously the pun book, and then it was just I was hoping they'd have the gay porno fold out book in the last episode at the end of it, but they had it at the start of this one with the later dudes, and she chucks the thing out and the sticky pages and stuff. That was word for word from the game, and I absolutely love that stuff. What are your boys' thoughts?
I loved, for me, it was I've forgotten the count now. I think it was 6 or 8 shots that were wide shots of, like, the side of the highway and its abandoned military vehicles. There were 6 or 8 wide shots in it that were directly out of the game, but it looked like they'd actually gone out and shot them in the real world. I was floored and absolutely loved it. Like, for me, this episode was the high watermark of visual effects, because obviously they didn't have an abandoned highway and all the tanks and military vehicles abandoned. That was all clearly done in After Effects or whatever engine they used, but it looked top notch, like environmental effects. Like, my hat is off to the post-production crew on that particular episode. They nailed, like, setting the tone, the post-apocalyptic slow wide shot. They absolutely knocked it out of the park. Bully, your thoughts?
I agree with you. Again, another fantastic episode, and Unky's hit the nail on the head with that. Was it Kathleen?
Kathleen, yeah.
I think that's probably in the 4 episodes we've seen so far, that is the only one misstep that they have made is her leading them. But whether we get some more to it next week or in the next episode that explains a bit more of why she's leading them as opposed to someone else, I don't know. We'll wait and see. But as I said, that's probably the only misstep. Otherwise, it's again another outstanding episode. And there's probably not much more to say than what you guys have added, other than we've got a new fella joined us in the chat there, David Cohen, who's telling me that his pun is that he thinks pirates watch R-rated movies.
Nice.
Beautiful. Before we move on, guys, we're going to take an incredibly short, I promise it won't be 10 minutes, it'll be 30 seconds. Minor active reload. We will be right back when I can find the active reload button. Oh, where have I done it? There we go, active reload. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's game 3 for this evening. It's Forspoken. Now, I've rolled credits, as you can see right here. And as I did with every other cutscene in the game, you know I skipped it. Bang, pause, skip. That was my second most done action in this game. And the offensive thing about it is when you skip a cutscene, you think you'd be straight into the next bit of action. But no, the way they developed this game is you go skip cutscene. They're like, oh, no worries, I'll skip this cutscene. Have another one. Oh, wait, pause, skip. Oh, you're done with that cutscene too. Have another one. Oh, you're done with that one. They put every time, it was 3 cutscenes back to back. Here's a tip, guys. If I'm saying skip cutscene, I want to skip more, get me straight back into the action. That being said, there is a phenomenal game under the hood here. We were discussing Hogwarts Legacy and how their spells work. Guys, oh, wait, before I get into that, on screen there you can see their puzzle chests. It was a very interesting idea, these puzzle chests, the way they've done it. Like the lock is like a visual puzzle, and you've got to kind of, if you remember from Bioshock, how you complete the circuit, it's kind of that puzzle again. So it's a nice little one, a little mini game in the game to unlock the chests. I respect the way they've pulled that off. That was great. But we're going to see in 1 second here, if you look on the ground there's the mana pools I was talking about where, you know, they're scattered all throughout and they're encouraging that, you know, world exploration right there on the right-hand side. There's 3 like mana pools there, like 1 skill point each. You can see there the total going up 23, 24, 25. By the end, you need 140 points. But look at this, guys. There are 4 different skill set trees, each with, I think it's 18 skills per tree. It took me 18 hours to roll credits and be done with this game. For the first 16 hours, I only had 2 skills trees unlocked. And in the last 2 hours, they added 2 more skill trees. They needed someone to go in there with a hacksaw and cut so much fluff out of this game. And check this out. The best thing in the whole game, and you get to use it for 5 seconds here. You've got a bloody surfboard that you've got, like your magic parkour system. They get you to cross this one lake on it, and it's bloody epic. So much fun. And it was at hour 17. They give you it, and it's the funnest thing to do in the whole goddamn game. It's a lot of people were complaining in Days Gone about the hordes being buried too far into the game. From 1 hour from the end, they give you the best traversal thing in it, and you use it once. You cross the lake once, and then there's no more bodies of water that you need to cross in the game. It's one of the times you're like, how many man hours went into creating that system? And it's awesome. They absolutely nailed the look and the feel of it, and you use it for less than a minute and you're off over the other side. They should have had that in from like hour 2, and then they should have just put way more bodies of water throughout this whole game. I am floored about how many awesome, fantastic gameplay mechanics are in this game, and then whoever was directing failed to identify the fun bits of the game and surface them. The game is so backloaded with interesting skills and interesting bits, but you've got to trawl through 16 hours of just bland meh, and then suddenly the game turns it up to 11. They've got all these awesome skills, but it's like, why weren't these at the start of the game? The game direction of this is woeful. The game play mechanic designers need gold medals. Top-notch effort. I don't know the team's name. I don't know if it was outsourced. I don't know how this game was built. The guys doing the gameplay, the individual skill creation, the traversal system, it's all excellent. And it was just so incredibly poorly directed that I don't know, I've said it was the third week in a row, why you would stick a walking simulator in it. There is a total of 5 instances of 45-minute walking simulator scenes that you can't skip, and you're stuck just like, oh my God, I just skip cutscene, walk to marker. Okay, now I'm back out in the open world and there's cool traversal. Hour 17, they give you the coolest one, you use it once, and then it disappears forever. This game is like a masterclass in how not to direct a game. There is a fantastic game under the hood here. As I've said before, wait till it's in a free service. Wait till you can pick it up for $10, and then be prepared to invest 5 hours in trying to just power walk through walking simulators to get to the underlying cool game. If by some miracle they get to do a second game and they get a decent game director in here to actually surface the cool stuff, they have got so many awesome building blocks to work with. It was just put together in the wrong order. It's like someone didn't read the IKEA instructions properly and they've ended up with a couch that sits up the wrong way.
Or the manual in tuning.
What? There was a manual in tuning? Are you sure?
Oh, allegedly.
Apparently. Anyway, guys, that's just really it. I've rolled credits. It was 18 hours. There's some really good stuff in there, but as I said last week, you've really got to go foraging for the gold in this game. Sorry, just before we go, because it's on screen. This is what you've got to do. You've got to set the skill set this way. This is the accessibility settings. You need to turn on auto cycle. Where is it? It's written there somewhere. It auto cycles the skill. So you pull L2, R2. They're kind of like your big hitter spells. In Harry Potter, like you pull R2 and then you hit square or circle and it's whatever you've set up. In this game, it's on the triggers, so it nails the old man hand, something chronic. But until you set it to manually switch, you've got to cast a big hit, pull L1, reassign to the next big hit, pull L2, and then L1, then L2, then L1, then L2. It's so disappointing the way this is constructed. They have got a really cool game here. It's just poorly delivered. Sorry, Unky, go, mate.
To sum up Troy's review of Forspoken, buy Hogwarts Legacy instead.
Indeed. No question. I just think it's a shame that some of the development team smashed it out of the park and then it was just directed into oblivion. Bully, any thoughts?
Oh, no, I still haven't got hands-on with it, so I couldn't really speak to it. But I did see that the developers came out during the week and said, look, we've
apologised?
More or less. They said, we've heard your concerns. We've listened to what you've had to say. We're going to go away and work on it. So I'm not... Well, you'd probably be a better place to say whether it's something that's salvageable.
No,
or whether it's just too far
gone. Wait, to be honest, their update for the game was that we're going to provide updates to the game. It was it's essentially all they said.
Well, they don't know what to focus on. There's too many.
Yeah, we've heard your feedback. We'll provide updates to the game. It's like, well, no shit. But what are they?
No, there's no way they can salvage this. It is so poorly created. There's no amount of patching is going to fix this. But as I said, they've got really cool building blocks and they're never going to get the budget to do number 2. If for some miracle Tencent came out of nowhere and decided to give them a budget for number 2 and they totally removed that game director, who I don't even know the name of the game director and I don't want to know, but they needed somebody else game directing. But as I said, the building blocks are there. They have so many cool mechanics under the hood. They just needed someone steering the ship towards the good bits and surfacing the good bits, not leaving them hidden 17 hours deep under so many layers of bad decisions. There's no way they can fix it through a patch.
Speaking of games that need sequels, Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush Game 4, let's move on. Who is it? Unky, over to you, my friend. Go for it.
I know I've spoken about this last 2 weeks. I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. I've kept playing this game. I'm up to the final boss. This game is phenomenal. It's still in my top games of this year. It's still up there. I was playing it tonight instead of playing Hogwarts because how much I love this game. And it just, Bully, if you can ever get past that door, I'm sure you'll find a fantastic
You're an absolute heathen, Unky.
Game there as well. But I've unlocked all the characters to give me all the different abilities and combat stuff. The game looks amazing. It has sounded great the whole way through. The music ramps up as the game gets towards the end. I've just had a second last boss fight that was absolutely epic to Symphony number 5. It's just insane. This game just keeps delivering and the story keeps delivering, and this game needs a sequel. The developers never thought they would make something like this. The Evil Within, they were a developer that was, brought on board just to make horror games, and they've made this, which is arguably the best cel-shaded game or action game that I've ever played. It's phenomenal.
It is a fantastic game. I threw another 10 hours at this game during the week. I didn't get anywhere near Unky's hour 4, probably. I'm not very good at it, but I absolutely love it. The comedy's hilarious. The action, the music rhythm. Once I worked out that they wanted you to hit on 1, not 3, because they've written one thing but shown another, and I was confused for a while there. But once I worked it out, the game is phenomenal. I can't recommend it highly enough. Bully, any thoughts?
I think I've told you. I reckon I'm about an hour into it. At some point, you've got to hit some switches with the rhythm. And I've been given tips by Unky. Been given tips by Troy. I've watched videos. Cannot do it. I'm stuck an hour in. As much as I love everything that it's got going for it, I'm done, cooked, finished, and Hogwarts it is.
I just want to quickly say, because I just saw it on screen, then it reminded me the counter system in this and the way they echo at first, they're like, there's the beat, cha, 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 cha.
So good.
And then you get to implement it. I'm like, this is what Batman needed. And I know it's a ridiculous thing to say, but I never worked out how to counter properly in the Batman games. But I reckon now that I've mastered countering in this, I could go back to, Arkham City, whatever, and actually be effective with Batman and his countering system.
Wait to see some of the boss fights where they've got that mechanic in there. You've got to do multiple ones. Like, it becomes so epic, like trying to hit it with the beat, and like sometimes you can get frustrated with it. But it's just so epic when you're hitting that beat and you just time it perfectly, and then you get that finishing move to slice through it. It's just nothing beats that feeling.
I absolutely love as well, because what is it? L left trigger to cycle the hero you're going to call in, and then right trigger to pull it. I love being mid-fight, then left trigger, right trigger, mid-fight, left trigger, right trigger, mid-fight, left trigger, right trigger.
Mate, I just mash them all, and I'll have all 3 going, and I'll wait for them to recharge, then mash them all again towards the end. Like, you just get you get S rankings for everything if you just like spam those. It's great.
It's so epic. I absolutely love it. Oh, big shout out to the Elite Series 2 controller as well for the paddles. My old man heads, there's no way I could play this game without those paddles to give me full accessibility to the controller. So if you're struggling, maybe that's the only tip I could give you, Bully. Maybe it's time you ventured out and got the Elite Series 2 for the paddles.
Not for one game.
All right, then. Are we moving on to Game 5?
Let's do it.
All right, Unky, my friend, take the charge for us. What are we looking at here? Metroid Prime, it looks like.
This was a latecomer. So this was through the Nintendo Direct today, watching they announced that Metroid Prime remake for the Switch was shadow dropping. So digitally today, and then I think 22nd of Feb for physical copies. So Bully, I know he's probably not too keen on the game itself, but if he was going to get one, I dare say he'd be waiting to the 22nd anyway. But no, I remember loving this game back on the GameCube days. It was always a very good-looking game, and it was the first time sort of Metroid had been brought to the first person. I think it does it brilliantly. It scored really high, and I think it says at 98 or something on Metacritic. So it's one of the most world renowned, or 96 or somewhere. Bully might be able to fact check me there. But just a phenomenal game, and playing it in the high fidelity. It's not just a reskin. Like, they've gone through and remade assets and stuff in the game. It looks really good. It runs at a silky 60 frames per second, no frame pacing issues. And the immediate thing that I got when I dropped into that world the first time was, this game looks like Returnal. And I dare say Returnal could easily be a Metroid 5, etc., or Metroid 4, whatever we're looking forward to, because it's a very similar premise where you've got the same kind of like otherworldly things. You've got these abilities, you've got these weapons, and you've got these blue doors. Like, it looks so similar in the way you're walking through these levels, but just it's got that classic Metroid, like, go to these things, you got to find your abilities and sort of then come back on yourself, and you unlock abilities that allow you to get to other rooms and stuff like that. I've already found myself lost on a number of occasions. I don't even know how I played this game when I was younger, because some of this stuff's had me stumped for ages. I'm not ashamed to admit that I've had to look up a walkthrough just to find out where I was going next. But no, I can see myself playing for a while. Like, it's got that great feedback. It's obviously adapted now for the Switch and the controller with the dual thumbsticks now, which makes it a joy to play now, and just with that added fidelity. Like, if you're a Metroid Prime fan, definitely get this. Like, you may not want to, drop $60 on it digitally. I think it's 6.7 gig on your Switch, which is already doesn't have that much hard drive space unless you've got an SD card slotted in there. But or you can wait to the 22nd of Feb for the hard copy. But no, this game it's as good as I remember, if not better. And if you like Returnal, then I know Troy does, then maybe get back into Metroid, because it definitely evokes some of that Returnal feeling.
Can I ask you, mate, from what you just said, so they've remastered the game, but are you saying they've done nothing to help with navigation in the remaster?
No, I think I don't know if I can't speak to it because it's been so long since I played the other one. But the map system is really well done in this. The 3D map is brilliantly set out. It's got a massive marker on where you are, orange where you've been, blue where you need to go, and there's always a little question mark where you need to go. So it leaves it open for exploration for you to actually figure it out. So it's not holding your hand at all. But I think I like that. It's good game design. It actually makes you think of where you need to go and look at rooms and find, oh, there's a little section here with a blue area I haven't been. How do I get there? And then it's about, if you go there, then most likely you're going to find the ability you need to unlock the next area. So it's great game design. I can see why it's scored so a bully. I don't know if you managed to find its Metacritic score at all.
97 with an 8.9 user score.
Oh, there you go. So that speaks, volumes for this game and how good it reviewed back in the day. And I think it'll review pretty well today with its fresh coat of paint. But no, I just wanted to throw this one in there, given the fact that we got another Shadow drop, and we already had a great thing Shadow dropping with Hi-Fi Rush, and this is just another one that I think the director will talk about it soon. Didn't have too much in it, but this definitely lit me up at the time.
I suppose I'm wrong, but my memory was that Metroid Prime was a Rare game. Is this not Rare?
No, this is not Rare. It's what's the name of the company? Bully might be able to check that as well for me, but it's definitely not Rare.
I thought it was Rare, and I'm like, is there a chance this is coming to Xbox? But no.
No, so I imagine with the fact...
chance in hell, I wouldn't have thought. It's a first-party Nintendo game.
Yeah, no. And the fact that we haven't... I think the fact that we got this, I think Metroid Prime 4, we haven't heard... We've got the release title of it, I think, last E3 or something. I think we're going to see that on the next-gen version of whatever the next Nintendo Switch is. So
the Switch 2 that's coming out this year for Breath of the Wild 2, that one.
No, I think that's ship sail now. I think Zelda Tears of the Sun will be the sunsetting of the Switch, and then all the other stuff like a new Mario, Metroid 4, I think we'll see on the next-gen console for the Switch.
Retro Studios is developer published by Nintendo, so
that's the one. Yeah,
there's no way that's going anywhere.
Nope.
Well, what could be really cool is if Microsoft went and bought Nintendo.
They're trying to buy Activision, and the bloody Brits won't let it happen. So,
I think the quote from them is, "It's not cricket."
They're still salty about them stealing their tea.
Boston Tea Party, anyone? Shall we go kicking a newsroom door, fellas?
Let's kick in those doors, Troy.
More news. You have the right to remain newsworthy. Is Tagero in the chat?
Certainly is, yep.
Hey, this one was for Tagero specifically.
Go for it, Unky.
So I'm not sure. I'm hoping he's all over it. If he's not, he's going to be well aware of it now. But I think it was a 12-minute trailer or gameplay footage was shown of Resident Evil 4. This was fresh off the news we had of it last week, so I jumped in and watched the trailer for that, and oh my god, does it look good. The only thing that doesn't quite look good at the moment is the rain particle effect coming a little bit thick, so maybe that's just a slider.
No, you know what it is?
What's that?
It's a call out to heavy rain.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, that's terrible.
Easter egg.
You need to go hang out with Ellie and read out that pun joke.
He does.
I love that goddamn book. It's my favourite thing in the game, and I was so pumped that they brought it into the TV show. I can't wait for more puns. Bring them on. I love it.
Tagara might be able to tell us in the chat whether he's gone back and watched this trailer, but it's got some really good gameplay, extended gameplay, and it shows sort of the well-known areas of Resident Evil 4, but it shows some of the execution moves down the bottom. It's got Ashley's new sort of model they've got in there with her, and
did we find out if it's got Bully's stab option available? Was that shown?
Stab option?
Stab Ashley in the head.
Yeah.
No, it definitely doesn't have that. But speaking of stabbing, what it has actually added is a stealth mechanic. So a bit like The Last of Us now, you can actually crouch walk and sneak up on zombies and stab them in the head and stuff. So I really like that addition to Resident Evil now. Resident Evil's never really had a stealth mechanic, so I do like the idea of sort of being able to stealth through areas and get stealth kills on the Z's. So that was a great mechanic that I wasn't expecting and I hadn't sort of seen until this trailer dropped. So that gets me really excited.
I've got to ask, and I'm going to keep asking until they release it. Any news on PlayStation VR 2 support?
No news yet, Troy. I'll let you know when there is.
If they announce backwards compatibility for the PSVR 2 and RE4's first-person mode, Jim Crine Ryan's in for another $880.
No, that's about it for this one. So unless Tagara was to sound off what his opinions were in the chat, I think we can move on to the next news story.
Oh, that'll be me and a button press or two. Stand by. Here we go. Button pressing. Here we go. Bang. Unky. Story 2. He looks familiar.
He does look a bit familiar. He looks a bit like that Pedro Pascal from the Last of Us TV show, which is not. No, this is a little bit sad news given the fact that it's doing so well on HBO. But The Last of Us has been delayed on PC. Naughty Dog confirms PC version will now arrive after the finale. Not bad timing of the HBO show.
Here's a question for you. How bad must that PC port be currently for this delay to have happened?
Yeah, I don't. It wouldn't have to be too bad. I just think it would have to be up to Sony's standard to release as early as it was going to. I think if there's any chance that it wasn't going to release in a perfect state, which pretty much all Naughty Dog games do, then you're not going to release it. So
I disagree. Jim Cryan Ryan wants those dollars. The only thing stopping him pulling the trigger is if it was running about 5 frames a second on a high-end PC.
Well, that might be. I was going to say that might be the issue because I know when Returnal, they're talking about the optimal settings for that, or the preferred settings is 32 gigs of DDR4 RAM, which is, most people are running at a 16. Without delving into the PC specifics, but 32 RAM is an incredible speed on that they're recommending. So whether because of the processing power of the PS5, and that's what they're arguing against, is that the way the SSD is set up, that's how it has to run.
Yep.
You need more RAM on board your PC. So maybe they're sort of going, well, we need to do something about this. We can't drop it saying that you need 32 gigs because it's just not going to sell because you don't have that many people with that sort of setup.
But like, how well are they doing the cross-media thing of TV show and game sales? Jim Cryan Ryan would be taking skulls at this point, I reckon, for this port not being ready. There would be a bloodbath somewhere happening inside Sony for this port not to hit while the TV show's still on and they're getting all those viewers. Because what are we getting, like an extra million viewers every episode at the minute?
Yeah, let's not forget you can still buy the PlayStation version. It's only people who want it on PC, so it's not the biggest issue, I wouldn't have thought.
But they want to hit, what was it? They were forecasting 300 million this financial year for PC sales.
Yeah, something like that. And I do agree that if the way the TV show is growing as well, I'm trying to find that the growth chart that I sent you guys this week shows how well this show's doing. Here we go. So episode 1, 4.7 million. Episode 2, 5.7 million. Episode 3, 6.4 million. And most recently, episode 4, 7.5 million. So the growth of the show is getting up there. So the more viewers, and I imagine it's just going to keep going up. So the fact that you're not going to have this PC version now can be detrimental to how much sales they make. But that being said, there might be, if it's dropping as soon as that show finishes and people are clamoring for some more Last of Us, then they can sort of finish the show, then get into the game. So again, I don't think it's the worst thing. I think it could almost work in their advantage. The fact that people will just watch the show and take that for what it is without comparing it towards the game, and they can go out and have their Last of Us experience that way. So.
I'm calling it now. Whoever's the studio head of the PC port is going to get Bonnie Ross by the time this is over.
Probably.
They're gone. All right, what's story 3?
Story 3. This is a small one I came across this week, which I didn't expect to see. I'm not sure if the footage is still available to watch, but the Dragon Age actually got leaked some gameplay footage. And so the Dragon Age Dreadwolf gameplay leaks showing God of War style combat. I've watched the footage. It's giving it a pretty good rap, I think, for what I saw. But
marketing department involved in that quote, were
yeah, it definitely looks a lot more action-based than sort of Dragon Age has in the past. He's like doing a little flippy move and stuff as he attacks, and it looks quite good for what's clearly early alpha mode. But I'm excited that, Dragon Age is coming back. It's been a while since we've got a big BioWare Dragon Age game, and I do like the stories BioWare tell, and I've always liked Dragon Age, and the thing has sort of always held me back until we had the more recent one, which can't think of the name. Inquisition, yeah, which I did go back and reinstall not that long ago because I think it was on Game Pass.
Yeah, it's available through the EA game.
Yeah, that's right. So I checked that and enjoyed that, and that's got sort of slightly less turn-based combat. This looks like it's sort of going that more sort of action gameplay route like God of War. Obviously not anywhere near that level, especially from what I saw. But if that footage is there, check it out. It might get you excited, especially if you're a Dragon Age fan.
And I just need you to explain, Unky Dunky, why is Voldemort in this story?
It's because he didn't get a gig in Hogwarts, so he just had to make his way to another fantasy realm. So that's what.
Well, I was hoping to see him in Fortnite, but here we go. He's turned up in Dragon Age. Bully, any thoughts on this one, mate? Nope, he's off cancelling the PSVR 2 headset pre-order. All right, story 4 this evening. Oh, this is a big one we need Bully for. Come back, Bully.
It is. I'll start it off though without him anyway.
Go,
So
mate.
today we did get the Nintendo Direct. I was up and watching it live. I think it hit about 9 o'clock a.m. Australian time. A little underwhelming at first. I had a lot of stuff that sort of, I wasn't really too interested in. I'll go through sort of the list of things. You can tell me whether you want to stop or pass on these things. So I'll start off with Pikmin 4. Finally has a release date. Pass or
Pass.
talk about
I
it.
want the fifth one is when I'm going to jump in.
Oh, so we had
It's more-
Nash's newest hero in Xenoblade Chronicles, Somebody Amigo, Party Central, Fashion Dreamer lets you become a style influencer. That's one for Bully. Then we have Dead Cells Return to Castlevania is coming on
Hello.
the 6th of March. And Dead Cells, what a great game. They dropped the trailer for this, not that long ago. I
Summer
think it
Games
was,
Fest?
yeah,
No,
Summer Game. Yeah.
Games Award. Game Awards had it.
Yeah, Game Awards. That's right. They had it. So this showed some gameplay of that, and it just looked like Dead Cells with Castlevania skin.
Oh,
It just looked incredible, didn't it?
I cannot wait. Give it to me now, please. Pretty please.
Give it to me, please. And then we had Ghost Trick Phantom Detective is being remastered for Nintendo Switch. Splatoon 3 is getting a paid expansion pass. Harmony, The Fall of Reverie is a new narrative adventure game. We Love Katamari, a role-playing game. Get it? Because you roll shit in that game. Is getting a Nintendo Switch remaster. The first three Etrian Odyssey games are being remastered for Switch. Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp arrives in April 23. Kirby's Dream Return to Dreamland Deluxe will feature a new epilogue. I think that's our end of the month. And then we actually had the interesting stuff. So that was a very slow start to this thing, and everyone was touting this is going to be one of the big ones because like, oh, these are all the big games we've got coming, the next 6 months or so, first half of the year, and some stuff that's not. So then we had Game Boy games are coming to Nintendo Switch Online, and Game Boy Advance games are coming to Nintendo Switch. This was where I started to perk my ears up, and especially when they announced it as of the show finishing, all the stuff they actually showed footage of was going to be available today, which was great. We do have a bully up on the Geek Aloud channel showing off that those new games as well. So if you want to jump over to that and check out that video, but there's some real good ones on there. Zelda Minish Cap, which I never played, which I've always heard good things about. Zelda or Zelda game not actually made by Nintendo. It's made by Capcom, but it's got all the same music. It's got all the characters you love, and so far, really cool art style. It's like playing one of those sort of new games that come out these days with the pixel art. If you, it looks just like that. So, like, if you like sort of what they're doing with all that sort of, bringing the old to new, this looks just like that. With my TV, I think most new TVs these days have a zoom function where you can stretch the image sort of vertically and horizontally, and I can just fit it to my 77-inch TV and not have it in the old school ratio. It just looks phenomenal on my TV. It doesn't stretch out pixels or anything. It just looks phenomenal. So, I've been doing that. I jumped into I jumped into Zelda Majora's Mask on 64, but that's not really the Game Boy Advance stuff. But it's had, I think, WarioWare's on there, Mario Kart. Bully, if you're back, you might be able to tell me what else there was on there today. But there was a lot of good stuff on there, and there's a lot more stuff coming to those services soon. I just think it's a great way now to get some of these old games we thought were sort of extinct, or at least legally.
Yeah, well, that's the other issue with it as well, though. And they've done it with some of the other ones that they've done, the SNES and the N64, is that there's some bizarre choices in there. Like there's Alone in the Dark, the Game Boy version, which is, trash and bizarre. I don't know why they've done that, but then they've also gone and done a couple of the Super Mario games, and they've got, the Zelda Minish Cap, and they were talking about some of the ones that are coming up as well, like the Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages. So they're great stuff to get into, but just some bizarre choices with some of them. But otherwise, I think it's not a bad start to it. And if anyone's interested, jump into the channel. I did a Let's Play and went through a couple of them. They actually don't play, considering where they've came from, being the handheld versions, they actually play pretty well. And I'm playing on a 65-inch screen, and it actually looks pretty good, all things considered, that they've managed to work it out that well, to be honest.
It was a great video you did today, Bully. Thank you, mate. You did cover them off beautifully. Unky, have we got to your favourite Professor Layton yet, mate?
No, not yet. So I'll keep going in order. We then had Metroid Prime, which we've spoken about tonight, which was announced digitally, and Shadow Drop, which was awesome. Then we had Bait and Kados 1 and 2 HD remaster coming to Switch. Fantasy Life, you're going to notice a lot of these games no one's even going to have even heard of, which is really says a lot about the Nintendo Direct. But I'm sure all these games they may not be for us. I'm sure they're for someone. Not everyone wants just all the big Nintendo releases. I just know that we do. This was a big one. Professor Layton, love me for some Professor Layton, as does the wife. So I dare say we'll probably have this one going when this one comes out. Professor Layton is getting a sequel. I think that's a pretty cool name from memory. Was the trying to find it now. I can't see the actual name for it, but I'm pretty sure they gave us a name. Then we had Mario 8 Deluxe or Mario Kart Infinite. Booster Course Wave 4 is coming soon. Your favorite or most annoying character from Mario Party, Birdo, is making her way to the tracks as well. And then we finished on the big one, a new trailer for Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which looks absolutely epic. It had Link like riding on some kind of machine, which I'm hoping is something you can kind of put together and a la Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts style, which is a bit of a deep cut for most people that probably have no idea what that game is. But if you can make your own vehicles and stuff in, Zelda, use Link to sort of use his abilities to create these things to get across. I think that could be a cool mechanic. You saw him sort of sliding on a pole like Sonic as well. So Sonic's tried to steal Breath of the Wild's world, and Link's trying to steal Sonic's moves sliding on rails. So it's like a seesaw. We just keep coming and going. They keep stealing off each other. It's fine if we get a great game. But
what about Goat Simulator, where you get to build a car out of like Waterloo and stuff?
That was pretty cool actually. Goat Simulator. God, what a game! That's a good game. It's up there. But I'm really excited for Zelda, and they confirmed that release date. I think there was a few rumors going around that they weren't going to hit that May 12th date. I got a little bit of a startle when I saw the date pop up on the screen. It said 5/12/23. I'm like, oh no, 5th of December. It's been pushed. But it was it's just they do the dates around the wrong way. So I thought they had pushed it, but no, we're still getting that game in May. So any other games looking around to be coming around that time, I think they can probably disregard coming out then, because you're probably not going to sell. I know Bully's already pre-ordered his collector's edition, his Amiibo. I have since jumped on and pre-ordered my Amiibo. I don't know if I'll get the collector's $190 Australian for a bit of art and a tin book. Unless you give me the game a week early, I don't think I'll be forking $190, at least not without wife knowing anyway.
It'll look good on the shelf. That's all I need to know.
No, true. You can't see behind me because the way I got the camera set up, but there's a nice shelf behind me now that would it'd probably look quite nice in too.
And just confirming, no hint of the Switch 2?
No, hint to Switch 2, which was what makes me think. I think if you were going to announce it, you'd probably be announcing it sort of pretty early in the year if that was going to happen. I know what they're going to do. The Zelda's going to come out. It's going to be the swan song for the Switch. And then after that sort of settles, then we're going to hear about Switch 2 and a Switch 2 version of this game as well.
What do you think, March next year?
Guaranteed. Yeah, I reckon sort of early next year as well. I think before then, we're probably going to get Wind Waker, remasters and stuff as well. And Twilight Princess, I think we'll probably get a remaster or a remake as well for the Switch before we sunset the year as well.
Very good. Bully, any final thoughts on this one before we move on to News Story 5, mate?
No, I think you covered it pretty well, and that'd be my thing as well, is that there's some decent stuff in there, and there's a lot of almost, mobile style trash that I don't know who's playing after this, but it is what it is. We move on.
Very good. All right, story 5 this evening. Now, this one is going out to Ace, of course. Big shout out to Ace because, well, actually, the first part of this, it's a Call of Duty story, folks. Spoiler alert. But this one's really for you, Billy. Set your eyes on this, mate. The Shoot House is back. It's back, baby.
Yes.
Now, have you got hands-on with it yet since they've reintroduced it to the rotation?
Oh, I haven't managed to get hands onto it. A certain wizard's been taking up a lot of my time, but 100% I'll be jumping back into that, because that was, in terms of I wouldn't call it a mini map, but the smaller maps that they put out, that is by far and away has been my favourite in any of the recent Call of Duty games. And I know I played quite a few games with you, Troy, and
yeah,
I think you enjoyed it as well. Just the way it was, the way it's set up, that you've got, basically 3 lanes down the middle. You can you can't really hide in the level, so you've got to really move around. You've got to know where you're going, and
you got to have a couple of Molotovs.
And you got to, and damn that bloke that sits on the crate at the back of the level just sniping you down the alleyway, because
we cleaned him up a couple of times. So
there's nothing more than I love than sneaking around and just pop one in his head. But 100%, I'm glad to have it back. I was disappointed when they took it away. The shipment was okay. I didn't mind it. Shout out to that video that had 70 kills, but Glad to see the shoot house is back.
It is indeed. Now, looking forward a little bit in Call of Duty, the Season 2 details came out February 15th. This one dropped. So what are we? Someone, quick maths? 5 days away? 6 days away?
6 days.
From Season 2. And Bully, I've just got a little zoom in here for you, mate. Little advanced tease look. Have a look there. 4th slot in. It's our new 6v6 map. So you're only going to get the shoot house for about a week, and then it's going to be switched out for this one. So get your shoot house love in because it's going to be switched out.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully this one that they put out, and we'll see how it is. But if it's on that sort of level, I don't mind them switching it out. But as long as it's big enough that you don't literally walk around a corner and get your headshot off every time, and there can be a bit of tactical element to it, I don't mind. So we'll see how that plays out.
Now, I don't recall it myself from playing through the single player, but as I understand it, this was a building from the single player campaign. That it is, but until I go hands on, I've got no real thoughts. That's the end of the 5th story. On to the 6th story. And Bully, this is another one for you, mate. Guess who's worked his way into Fortnite?
Oh,
The Witcher 3.
Geralt
of Rivia. His quests are now live, and I can tell you've got to burn through 6 quests to get it done. The hardest of the lot is 500 damage to opponents via melee. But shout out to my young fella Desmond. He burned through all 6 quests in sub an hour today. So I can say my main Fortnite account now has Geralt unlocked with his little bloody Igni sign going off there, and it's a thing of beauty. I absolutely love it. Big shout out. And Bully, we'll be going hands on with Fortnite. Do you think, is this enough to draw you back in?
Well, I don't know if it's enough, but I'll certainly use your little trick, and I might set up my oldest on the weekend so you can play on Daddy's account for a little bit, get me Geralt, and then you can go back to yours.
Perfect. What about you, Unky? Will you be going hands on Fortnite again, do you think?
Oh, I definitely won't give it to my son because I'll never get the skin. But he's not good at
Shots
Fortnite.
fired.
Sorry, buddy. No, I already have. The first one I actually tried to do stupidly was the melee one. I dropped into a match and tried to just take out some bloke. I think I did 13 damage with nothing before I got shot in the face. And I was like, I'm going to bounce and play Hogwarts. So I think I'll definitely go and do it. I did it with the Indiana Jones stuff, and I'll be getting Geralt. I think it's one of my missions tomorrow. At some point, I've got to make sure I stay ahead of all you boys in Hogwarts. So before I get back to work next week.
Do me a favour and stop watched it. I can tell you, Desi got all 6 done in 54 minutes this morning. It was a bloody thing of beauty to watch him go to work.
Well, I've been playing a fair bit of creative to unlock. So I've unlocked the Doom guy now, playing some creative modes and stuff. And it's
all 5 skins?
No, not all that. I haven't gone that high because you got to get like level 70 something, don't you? To get
no. It's like 110 because you got to do all 100 levels, and then you got to do another 10 levels past it to get the final Doomslayer skin.
I don't think I'm that committed. I'm gonna once I've got my skin, I'm happy with that. So I've got too many other games to play at the moment. So especially I've got to finish Hi-Fi Rush. I've got Hogwarts. I've got bloody Metroid now. I've got SpongeBob.
SpongeBob, yes, please. Cosmic Shake, which has been I haven't talked about it, but I picked it up. As I said, I wouldn't, but loving that game as well. So too many other games to play, and but I'll definitely get around to picking up Geralt of Rivia. Oh, yes. Well, I'm absolutely loving it, boys. That'll do it for the news stories this week. So let's go over to Game Informer for their list. Unky Dunky, over to you, my friend.
We've spoken about it tonight. Hogwarts was out this week. Tonight, we are looking at the most memorable, shocking, sad moments. A game character was Havada Kedavra, or Standoff. Who will fight? Standoff number 1. We have Arthur Morgan. So before we start, spoiler alert. Anyone in the chat, if you haven't played these games, just going to let you know that, obviously this is giving away some deaths in games. So if you haven't played
quickly run down the list of all the games we're about to spoil. Just
so I won't give you the characters. These are the games.
The game names.
We've got Red Dead Redemption 2, Red Dead Redemption 1, The Last of Us, Spider-Man, Batman Arkham City, Gears of War 3, Mass Effect 3, The Walking Dead Telltale series, and BioShock. So if you're wanting to play any of those games and don't want spoilers, don't listen to Standoff. But if you've played them, or even if you haven't played them and are interested in this Standoff, here we go. Standoff number 1.
Boom, there it is. It's on screen. Red Dead Redemption 2, Unky.
Arthur Morgan from Red Dead Redemption 2. This, along with his horse, is pretty sad as well. But the way this sort of game built this death up without you kind of even realizing with the whole tuberculosis stuff was absolutely brilliant, where his cough became worse as the game came on and you didn't even sort of realize what was happening until it was happening. And the writing was on the wall clearly from the start of it, but just the way the story told itself around this, and once he sort of found out and the way it all played out, I think I got the good ending. I think that what's on the screen is the best ending you can get for this game as well. But just what a way to build a game around the mortality of your main character. I just thought it was brilliant.
Yep, I absolutely loved it. I was floored. I usually pride myself on being able to pick the end of the story well in advance.
Yep.
And this one totally just got me king hit from the back. I didn't see it coming at all. I was floored when they did the big reveal at the end. How about you, Billy?
Oh, I reckon that's probably the worst part is that depending on how you play the game, you could have spent 40, 50, 60 hours with him plus.
Yeah.
And then in
I
the
think
last,
I was at 80.
Well, there you go, 80 hours with him, and you're thinking, oh, you've grown attached to him, you've done all this questing with him, you've seen out the story with him, and then right at the last moment, bang, that's the end of it, and you're sitting there thinking, what the hell's just happened?
Yep. I had the rug pulled out from me completely. Well, you say it's the end of it, but then what is there? 6 hours of a prologue?
Oh, there's more than 6 hours of
Yeah, where you play as our next standoff, John Marston.
Dun, 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 dun. Great segue, Unky. You've nailed that.
You're welcome. Yeah, so John Marston, so he also had a similar fate in his game. So obviously you see him build his farm at the end of Red Dead 2 and you play a whole game with him and you end that game in the farm, but all's not rosy and all does not end too well for Mr. Marston. His fate, though, not quite so sickly. He gets hit with about 1,000 bullets as he protects his family. And what it was, I thought was...
like, what's his name in Goldeneye last week?
Yeah, like Uramov that copped pulled his spray, but still didn't go down. Unfortunately, John Marsden didn't quite have the same amount of ability to stay alive. So this is just one of those moments where the game sort of sees you to think he's going to have the perfect ending, and then this comes out of nowhere, and he walks out there, and even then you kind of think, oh, I reckon I could take them all out. And I don't know how many times all of us have replayed this, trying to see how many of these guys you can actually shoot before you go down, but it is inevitable. You will die in this point, and it's shocking. It's moving. It's not as sad, I think, as
the horse dying in Red Dead 2.
Yeah, that or any horse dying in any video games, Ghost of Tsushima included. But no, it's definitely one of those shocking ones where it kind of just hits you. It comes out of nowhere, and it's just such a shocking moment where he walks out and just gets blasted. Okay, I guess that's it. And then obviously the game continues just like Red Dead 2 does, but you start playing as is it Jack Marston? I think the son of John, and God,
yeah, that sounds right.
That's what made this death probably even worse, is the fact that you actually had to play the rest of the game with him and his annoying voice. So for me, that was the worst part about this whole death, and probably makes it number one on this list, just due to the fact that I had to play with Jack Marston for the rest of the game to finish off the true ending. But no, what about you boys for this one?
I loved it, man. As I'm struggling to think, and I'm totally blanking on it. So hopefully one of you blokes can help me out. What movie is this an homage to? I cannot remember for the life of me. Oh, thank you, Young Guns. Yes, it was just totally Young Guns, and I absolutely love me some Young Guns. I love, and I'm blanking on his name now. The goddamn song,
Billy the Kid.
No, the goddamn song at the end of Young Guns.
Oh, I can't remember that one off the top of my head.
I'm way off track. Over to you, Billy.
I can find out for you, but I think this was it just over halfway through the game, or maybe just a touch, maybe 2/3 of the way through the game. So he ended up playing a large percentage of it with the son, which sort of changed it a lot more than probably number 2 did, where you only sort of ended up playing another 5 or 10 hours with a different character at the end. So in terms of the impact, I agree with Unky, and the son was that pretty much. I don't know if I ever ended up finishing the first one because you ended up having to play with the son, and it was just such a change and so annoying, I found. But that's just me. But I did see that Sean Games has jumped in there and said that Arthur Morgan was way better than John. So maybe that's his vote for it. We'll see how we go.
There we go.
Perfect. I'm still trying to remember the singer's name, and I am not focused at all. Standoff entrant number 3, Hunky.
Number 3, we're moving across to The Last of Us. It's given us our fair share of death, but this is the only one from The Last of Us on this list, so don't worry about any other spoilers. Sarah, we've spoken about this. I think I don't know if this moment's a moment for us as saddest moment. I think
I
Joel
think it
managed.
didn't it?
It might. I don't know whether it was that or Joel won the best father figure, and this was sort of due to that. But
Oh,
or emotional moments, not whatever it is. But this death just, I think, hit everyone. Just anyone that's watched the TV show as well knows the impact of this death, especially more so in the TV show when they gave us a bit more time to actually spend with Sarah beforehand. But
the TV show didn't do it for me, but I got to tell you, the first 2 times I played this game, I was teared up, no question at this moment.
yeah, this moment just hits and it just sets up the whole story of The Last of Us essentially. And it's just one of those moments where, you sort of don't expect his daughter to die just the way she does so brutally. They're like they've got all these zombies and stuff running around, yet it's this soldier that walks up and shoots them, and you
She
think
was the
Joel's been
second
shot.
Last of Us, yeah?
The second Last of Us? Yeah, that works. Why not? Troy's he's digging back into those pun book right now, which is very apt considering we're on The Last of Us at the moment. But this is one of those moments, very sad. Like very few moments that I actually tear up in games. This is one of them, and the next one of the other moments is I think the next one on our standoff. But no, this is one of those moments. What about you guys? I know this hit home for Troy. He shed tears. Bully, what about you?
Oh, it was one of those things. It sort of hit early, so you'd sort of grown a little bit attached to what was going on, but probably not enough that I sort of sat there and go, "This is absolutely shocking," to be honest. But I agree with you that they built it up more in the show. That you spent that entire first episode more or less sort of getting to know um, her and the relationship with Joel and the background and all that sort of stuff. So I felt it was more impactful in the show. Funnily enough.
On paper, I agree it should be, but the show just in no way hit for me. And I don't know whether it's because I'd played through the story twice, PS3 and the PS4, and I got maybe all my tears out on this moment and knowing it was coming in the TV show. I think that's why it just rang hollow for me. Like I was looking at it going, oh yeah, that would be sad, I guess.
Yeah.
When it
Oh,
was
there you
on
go. Well,
TV.
Sean's jumped in there and said that it was sadder in the show as well. So he's backing me on that one. And just for you, Troy, on the last one, the Young Guns reference, the Blaze of Glory from Bon Jovi was
Yes,
the same.
Bon Jovi, that was his name. God, that was killing me. Thank you.
And thanks to Ty Garo for that one.
Oh, best rock band 4 song, Blaze of Glory. That's not this week's standoff, guys. Focus. Standoff 4, Unky.
Standoff 4 now, I said that this one made me cry. This one, not necessarily shocking, but this one for me was very memorable and sad because it's right at the end of Spider-Man. You've just had a massive battle with Doc Ock, and that's, emotional in itself, the fact of that whole, relationship you have with him. But then you come to Aunt May, who's in hospital, and you've got this cure, and she sort of asks him not to use it on her. And the moment she's like, "Oh, I want to speak to my son," and my nephew, and then he takes off the mask, it just got me. I don't know what it is. That moment just got me. Where she's known this whole time that he was Spider-Man. I was just like, what a beautiful moment. It's definitely shed a tear. And for me, this is one of the most memorable deaths in a game, just because the way it made me feel. I don't know why. I've got no real connection to any of my aunts or anything like that. Where I have the exact same way. It's just the way it hit. It was the way it was delivered, just the way it spoke and the way it was shot in that moment. And just after everything you'd been to, I think it was a nice release. So I'm not sure if it was as memorable for you guys as it was for me, but it definitely hit a sad note for me.
You're taking shots at your entire family tonight, Unky. I don't know if you know you're doing it, but you lit up your son earlier, and now you've lit up your aunts. if you're a family member of Unky, take cover. It's coming. For me, I thought this was a sad moment, but it would have got me to cry if instead of this actress, and I'm blanking on her name too, but the Spider-Man from the Uncharted Spider-Man. God, I'm blanking on everyone's name. Not Tia Leone. It's the other one.
Oh, Marissa Tomei.
My cousin, Marissa Tomei. If it was Marissa Tomei here, yes, I would have cried. But it wasn't her, so it rang a bit hollow. Bully,
I think the whole world would have cried if it was her.
It's because she's hot.
How good is she in The Wrestler? Whoa.
There was a wrestler in that movie?
I hope Bully's been taking Troy's juice, I think.
Oh, yeah. Look,
where in the world is Marissa Tomei?
Well, there's that. Oh, yeah. Look, I didn't think it. I don't know. It was maybe you saw it coming a little bit, so it wasn't as shocking for me. But and I guess that's just sort of part of it is that she's selfless and yeah, I don't know. yes, it was sad, I guess, in a certain way, but probably not as shocking as I would have thought. And yeah,
I love it.
That's
Let's
okay.
move on to one of my favorite ones from this list. Number 5, Batman Arkham City. What an ending.
The Joker. No one expects the Joker to die. Yes, he sort of lived on in a sort of way at the start of or during, Batman Arkham Knight, where he comes through flashbacks, which I think was a brilliant way to do it. But no one, I think, actually expected the Joker to die in this game. And then come the end, when he's finally taken over by the virus, and Bruce doesn't save him, or can't save him. I can't quite remember what happens there. But you open up the next game, and he's sitting in the crematorium, and he's just getting burnt alive with that smile on his face. He's just like, okay, well, I guess the Joker's dead then. So it's not so much just having that one game, but it's that everyone's like, I can't be dead, surely. And then to come to that game and they just burn him at the start of the game, and I think you literally have to push the trigger on your controller to actually light the flames to burn the Joker. It's one of the first controller inputs you actually have. I thought was absolutely genius. But what a memorable death in the Batman Arkham series.
I absolutely loved it. This one for me, it wasn't sad as such, but I'll never forget it. This one really left a mark on me. I'm a huge Joker fan from back in, God, was it the 1960s Joker? I love that rendition as well. And every Joker ever since, I just love the Joker as a character. Very sad to see him go. What were your thoughts, Billy?
Oh, I sort of agree, but I thought it almost was beneficial to the third one that even though he's dead, like they're so intertwined, Batman and the Joker, that even after his death, he keeps popping up in these visions and basically haunts you through the whole game, and he just pops up at random points. And the fact that occurs says to me, it sort of played out the story in my mind a lot better than if you had have actually had him as the main protagonist again, or the main villain again, I should say.
Yeah.
That you then had to go and take on for a third game. Basically, it's you take him out of it, but he's still a major part of the game, even though he's dead.
Yeah. It's phenomenal. It's, Batman's psychosis or Batman's dark side, his shadow, whatever you want to call it. Such a phenomenal inter-character play. I love the Joker as a character.
What's the old yin and yang? You've got to have your positive and your negative, your light and your dark, whatever, however you want to put it. But you almost can't have Batman without the Joker, and vice versa. So even though he's dead, you've still got to have him in the game in some way, shape, or form to offset Batman.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes his death so memorable, is the way they dealt with that. They didn't just drop him as a character, they still brought him back, and it was just made that death even more memorable, more than a lot of these other ones where they die, end of the game, done, essentially. But this one, you got like a whole nother game just to reflect on the death of the Joker. It was just brilliant.
I was blown away just then. I'm pretty sure I saw a flash of Eternal on the screen. It was crazy.
Did you?
Selena Kyle, Tower of Syphilis. No? All right. Entry 6.
Entry 6, Dom from Gears of War 3. He had a sad moment where his wife died, I think, in the first Gears of War, or maybe Gears of War 2, where you find her and she's dead. But this one, not so much sad, definitely memorable. It's pretty epic, where they're all trying to escape and that, and then Dom comes flying in with this giant tanker and just like blows everything, all these locusts up and stuff. It was one of those ones that's just completely epic in his nature, and just sort of, that's what Dom stood for. He was, didn't take shit from anyone, and he wasn't going to, let even his life get in the way of saving his best mates and stuff. Honestly, it was a great moment. It's like, it's shot really well. It's just an epic moment. It's big, it's bombastic, and it's just, he doesn't let his death go to waste.
Yeah, it's the old, what is it? Put your body on the wire to let your mate crawl over. It's one of those moments. It's brilliant. I absolutely love it. Very, very memorable. Bully, thoughts?
Oh, I suppose that the thing that makes it probably more memorable for me is the fact that, for the first couple of games, is this, tank of a character, this unbeatable, take them all on. There's no way that anybody's going to take him down, sort of thing. That's where I guess the quote unquote shocking part came from me, is that he's just this bigger than life character that all of a sudden, bang, gone.
Crazy. He leaves quite the hole. All right. Standoff 7.
Speaking of leaving holes in our hearts, Standoff 7, Commander Shepard from Mass Effect 3. So this is more memorable for the fact that it just essentially put a lot of people off the series as a whole. It's the way it ended, because you literally killed Commander Shepard. So all that remains to be seen, because he did effectively die, I think, at the start of Mass Effect 2, before you actually have to put him back together and
send in
recreate
the
your character. So he's effectively died more than once, but this time he does sacrifice himself to save the whole world. So there was that. I don't think there was a way you could finish this game without him dying. So for that very
Correct.
reason, this is memorable for the fact that, yeah, it had so many people offside with Mass Effect 3 just due to the fact that such a great game ended the way that it did. So for me, it wasn't as shocking as the fact that this character was dead that I'd spent, 3 games building and, bringing over my save file from Mass Effect 1 to 2 to 3 to then lose this character at the end of this game because it was the end of the series. We weren't getting any more until now Mass Effect 4 is apparently coming out where they'll probably bring back Shepard anyway somehow.
What
Shocking,
about
you said?
Andromeda? What about Andromeda?
Oh, yeah, that's right. That game exists.
I think most people would like to forget that exists.
So no, this was just definitely memorable for where it stood in gaming as like one of those things, a good way to put hands off a series pretty quickly. Apart from bringing out Andromeda, but what about you boys?
Personally, I loved it. I think I was in the vast minority of people who I pumped, I don't know how many goddamn hours into Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. And I was actually one of the few that was very satisfied with the original ending of number 3. I thought it was a fantastic character arc through the 3 games and to kill him at the end. And now I was Paragon the whole way. And I felt like a hero sacrificing myself to, put the galaxy first. I thought it was like a crowning jewel moment. I was shocked to learn how many people were dissatisfied with that ending. So I personally love the original ending. Bully, what were your thoughts?
I was the same, Troy, just before Bully.
Oh no, I was just going to say. I think the thing that's more shocking for me about this is that, this is the way that they designed the game to end after three pretty lengthy, massive games that had a fantastic story arc to them, and then bowed to the pressure of the nonsense online and the carry on that people weren't happy, and then tried to patch something else into it. I just thought, well, just stay true to what you've delivered. A fantastic 3 games and a great story in 3 games. Just stay true to what your vision was, and let it play out and let it be done and dusted and move on to whatever your next thing is. That's as much as the death is shocking, the fact that they went back and tried to have a go over, I guess, is probably bigger than anything for me.
Yeah, weak, very weak of them. I thought the original was great, and I love the original ending. The death of Commander Shepard. Number 8, though. Now, this is one of the illustrious 10. This one definitely caused tears to roll on my face. How about you?
Yeah, this is what sold this series for me. And Telltale's a storytelling game developer, like the Lee Everett death at the end here. It's up there with other video game deaths that aren't on this list. But
I almost said it. What you omitted. I almost just dropped it.
Yeah, it's up there, but definitely a gut punch as well. Especially you've been protecting Clementine this whole time, and all of a sudden she needs your help, and you're not going to be there anymore. It's just such a gut wrench moment with what you've gone through with these characters over the amount of span of how long that game goes for, and just to be chained up against that thing. I think
12 hours, I want to say.
Yeah, he starts the game in handcuffs and finishes the game in handcuffs, which I thought was quite poetic as well. So, very sad moment, just one of those shocking deaths. And I wouldn't say shocking deaths, but just sad deaths in games are very memorable.
Yeah, totally caused me to tears, but I guess I'm the only one on the panel that happened to. Bully, did you enjoy the end of Telltale's Walking Dead Season 1?
I'll be honest, I never got to the end of it. I know, obviously.
It was the battery puzzle in the episode 1, wasn't it? That's what did it for you? You bounced.
It was just a door. It's just a door he couldn't open on it.
Bloody doors. It was a primer challenge or something in there. To be honest, it never got me. I obviously know what the outcome is, and I've seen what the ending of season 1 is. But after playing the first season or the first episode in season 1, it just didn't play with me. Yes, the story was okay, and I really enjoyed the Walking Dead TV show in its first couple of seasons before it turned into a dumpster fire. But the game itself never really got me, and it's sort of a hybrid adventure game, point and clicks sort of thing, which should really get me, and it never did. So I can't say I ever sat there with a controller in my hand, shedding tears. But Jess is telling me in the chat that that's the one that's making her cry the most.
And I can verify that she actually has the Clementine hat. She loved this game that much.
She's just popped that in the chat and said that she still wears it.
She does. She loved it. It was awesome. All right, then. Number 9. Spoiler alert, this one's getting my vote. Unky.
Number 9. I had a feeling you'd like this one, Troy. That's why I got it in. This is not even the character you play as, but you may as well be because you're doing his bidding the entire game, which I think was brilliant. And all up until his death at the end, you are still doing his bidding. Troy, this being your favorite one, I'll let you take the reins here and tell us what happens at the end of this here Bioshock with Andrew Ryan.
I don't even want to tell. I just want to tell people to go play it. But what I want to point out is, as you were saying, he is the mastermind of the whole game. You are his puppet dancing on a string, and it's just some of the best story. Like I've said before, my love for Ken Levine and his storytelling chops. I almost don't want to spoil it, but my hope is by including this one, it's enough of a shot in the arm for people to invest the, oh God, now I'm scratching the... Is it 18 hours? Anyone want to correct me on that? Time to complete? Bioshock 1, 18 hours?
It'd be around that, I think, yeah.
It's the best 18 hours you can ever invest from a storytelling standpoint. I absolutely loved it. This is in my top 5 games of all time. I still haven't nailed that list down. Bully, your thoughts?
Oh, I don't know so much the death that is the shocking part. It's as opposed to just the entire twist of
the revelation. Yeah,
the revelation and
the revelation.
No, Troy, we've given people plenty of warning with spoilers. We've talked about all the other ones. We have to say what happens to this one.
But
spoiler warning.
Game of the lot.
Yeah, but it's Bioshock. You've either played it or you're not going to play it.
Well, I will say that there's been a comment in there that we've spoiled the ending of Red Dead 2 already, so you may as well just go at it. We've warned them at the start. You've got plenty of warning now. It's a 15-year-old game. If you haven't played it by now, you're never going to play it. Spoil the damn thing.
I'm not going to do it. You do it.
Beat him to death with that goddamn golf club.
No! There's also someone on this list that gets beaten with a golf club that's not on there, but we're not talking about that one.
In The Mask, I'd check out my new 9-iron.
Oh, yeah, that's right. But no, right. Essentially, would you kindly, you're asked to just beat him to death with his own golf club. And I just think it comes out of nowhere, and it is brilliant. It is so memorable for the end of that game, which you now no longer have to play because you're welcome. We've just told you the ending. So, but no, still very much worth playing the game just to see how it all unfolds if you do want to play the game. But it is an older game now. It'd be pretty hard sell to get a lot of people to go back and play now anyway. But definitely one of those games of obviously, I don't know if I can say childhood. When did it come out?
2006. Oh, I was going to say 2006. I was off. My final word on this one: 4.
Nice. Now we're going to pick a winner or which one are we going to? Avada Kedavra as our
number
favorite.
9. Number 9.
Troy's going 9. Bully, where are you sitting, mate?
I don't know how he can pick number 9 when he won't even tell us what's actually going on with it.
Oh, I don't think I don't even think he's played the game. I just think he doesn't even know what happened.
Check the trophies. I'm offended by that comment. I love this game.
I don't think I can allow that.
He just told us that his son played Fortnite to unlock The Witcher. What's to say his son didn't get the trophies in Bioshock?
I don't know. For my vote, I'd have to go with Red Dead 2, to be honest with you, and Arthur Morgan. That was after spending so long playing that game and enjoying everything that character had to offer and the whole arc, and then just to take the prologue out of it, to be knocked off in the final minutes of the game. I just, like, as shocking as it was just sitting there thinking, what was the point of that 80 hours that I just pumped into it?
And that was the thing for me. It was memorable. Yes, it kind of made it almost more annoying to sort of be like, I kind of want to keep playing this game as this character. He's no longer there, which is kind of a good thing because it obviously did affect me. The fact that this character has died, like a real person that you spent all this time with. But that same token, I could almost lean towards the Joker, the way we spoke about his death affecting not only the story and the character and us being like, oh my God, Joker, but then the way they brought him back that affected Batman in the third game as well. Makes his death so memorable in so many ways as well. So I'm kind of torn here. I don't know how we're going to come to a consensus here.
Well,
number 9.
How about before we jump, we'll go to go to the next segment, and I'll see if there's anyone that wants to jump in the chat and tip us over the edge.
Hold on.
Everyone in the chat, just start getting in there. Start telling us who you think out of this list you're going to give the win to. We might just see if we can bump some numbers one way or the other.
The one thing I'll say about Red Dead Redemption 2 and Arthur Morgan's death in that, it's like the perfect underscore. What you're saying, like you miss him at the end. It's that whole, it's the journey, not the destination. Red Dead Redemption 2 like embodies that message better than any other game. I agree. All right. Next segment. Oh, we're going to the audience, boys. Get yourselves ready for this because, to be underscore the point, if you're in the audience, please cast your votes because we're kind of three-way tied at the minute. But for the first time ever, if I can find the right goddamn button, I've buried it on here somewhere, we have a video in from the audience. Goddamn, where's my button? Oh, here we go. All right, video. Sorry, guys. Video from the audience. Here we go, boys. Turn your speakers up. You got to listen.
Ace coming back to you. Thanks very much for having me, Troy. Glad I could be on, and I want to send out a very special message because I caught last week's episode and I was able to listen to the rantings, the ravings, the tears, the absolute schmozzle that was Unky and Bully having their big sook about my comments about their play on Modern Warfare. And to you, Unky and Bully, I'd like to give you the very first, the Golden Sook Award. That's for you, boys. Use the tissues to wipe up the tears and carry on, lads. Thanks very much. I'll see you next time.
There we are, fellas. Oh, Unky, what's happened? The Golden Sook Award. What do you boys think about that? Thank you, Ace. Shout out to Ace for sending in a video.
Well, I will say that he has jumped in the chat tonight after we were talking about the new Call of Duty Season Pass, and he said that he's challenged me to a one-on-one. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to take you up on that one-on-one.
Oh, wait, are we going to live stream it?
And when I wipe the floor with you, then you can take your box of golden tissues and wipe your snotty nose with it.
And now, Ace, you might see these sunglasses here. That's just to everyone know that I do have a pair of sunglasses, so you'll no longer need to see Ace on this show. So say goodbye to Ace, everyone. It's the last time you're going to see him. I've got a singlet. I've got some sunglasses. We're all good. No, but in all honesty, thanks, Ace, for sending that in. The only reason I've got these glasses here is to hide my tears from the standoff. So... No, good job.
Top effort, Ace. Thank you, friend. Anytime you want to send in a video from the bar, go right ahead. I will happily indulge it. All right. Bully, has we had any votes in from the audience? What's happening in that YouTube chat? Can they clean up my train wreck of a standoff participation this evening?
Oh, well, we'll see because we're split even further now because Tyler's gone with me at Red Dead and Ace has gone for Joker. So we're split. So we've
if I have
off.
to recast, I think now I have to recast with no backing.
If you recast either Red Dead or the Joker, then that'll be the deciding vote for us.
I'm going Red Dead.
Arthur Morgan?
2 in a row.
A winner/loser is you, Arthur Morgan. All right, fellas. That's going to do us for episode 60. That's right, 60. I didn't stutter. Of the Gaming Enforcement Agency. We are off duty. Unky Dunky, thank you, my friend. Excellent work with the standoff, with the news. Thank you so much for your help. And sorry, I kind of derailed my mind very early in the piece this evening.
It's all good, mate. All good.
Bully, thank you for coming along. Thank you for doing the videos all week. Thank you for doing the Nintendo update today. And I've got to throw it to you, man. What were the Let's Plays you threw up this week? I'm blanking.
Oh, you're going to get me blanking as well because I'm in the middle of trying to just deal with the chat. But I will say a big thank you to our regulars in there, Sean Games, Tigaro, Ace was in there as well, and Matt as well. And thank you to the newcomer, Dave Cohen, who contributed for quite a bit in there, which was good to see. And one final thought before we go out, just because Dave's the newcomer, I'll let him have the last say. And he was saying, are you getting paid by the developers of Rock Band / Guitar Hero? Because you seem to be pumping their chest somewhat with some of your game references.
I'll just play us off, shall I? Bit of Bon Jovi. Unky, what else can you do with the channel?
Like it, subscribe it, you'll never miss it.
Oh, that was luck.
Hey, that's something.
donkey.
Archie Donkey.